2022 was a really exciting year in the office market as everybody tries to figure out what's going to happen after COVID. Spokane actually had positive absorption of 154,000 square feet year over year from 2021, which is a surprise to most people. The one sub-market that really had the biggest challenge was downtown. Downtown's vacancy rate went from about 16% to 18.81% at the end of the year. The rest of the submarkets basically held their own, and the overall vacancy rate actually inched up slightly to end the year at 11.56. Now the difference is that even though we had positive absorption and a higher vacancy rate, there was a number of buildings that transitioned away from office, and I see that trend going forward into the future. A couple of those buildings are the building out in Liberty Lake Technology Campus that was the Agilent building. That was purchased by a school and is going to be converted into that use, and so that 200,000 square foot building will cease to be an office building in the near term. We continue to see buildings downtown look at changing into something other than office. The Peyton building being one example that is now being emptied out of office tenants who are now absorbing space in other buildings downtown and in the close-in submarket. That building will be an apartment building very similar to what happened at the Chronicle, the James S. Black, and at the M. The real challenge continues to be the large call center spaces, in particular out in Liberty Lake. Liberty Lake had some positive absorption on the raw numbers, but you still have the issue of sublease spaces. So even though Liberty Lake had a vacancy of about 10%, if you took in sublease spaces, it was probably closer to 20% vacant, and that skews the numbers in the overall market portfolio of occupancies in the area. The big change and big activity levels in the office market were the small space users. There was a number of users that were looking for space from 500 to 2,500, 3,000 square feet, in particularly around the downtown core in the close-in submarket and on the Argonne-Mullen corridor, and as well as medical users and small space users in North Spokane. North Spokane had a positive absorption of about 2% out there and ended the year at just about 8%, which is a historic low out there for that submarket. It became really tough if you were looking for 1,500 square feet out on the Argonne-Mullen corridor. Very few options in that level as tenants either downsize or in some cases there's been some expansions and relocations of tenant into that submarket outside to move out of the downtown core. And in the close-in market, there's been a lot of activity in the 500 to 2,500 square foot spaces as tenants either move back out of their houses to get away from the family and or downsize or upsize, as there are a number of tenants in the Spokane market that have expanded over the last year. Going forward, we see 2023 being an active office market. The challenge will still be what to do with the large expanses of call center space in some of the periphery buildings, such as the Rock Point East building and out at Liberty Lake. We still see a lot of activity in owner user space for those who are looking to buy their own building and occupy and achieve the positive results of ownership of their own home for their office. The other challenge has been the investment cycle for office buildings. There still has been quite a bit of activity for those office buildings that are occupied, but those buildings that are functionally obsolete have had a really tough time in the marketplace. We still see the market for office buildings to be strong this year, except for those functionally obsolete buildings. And in wrapping up, the real challenges I'm starting to see, and we are starting to see on our team in the market, is the effects of the hybrid model on parking. As tenants try to downsize their footprint, but in certain cases they still want the ability to have the same number of employees come to the office on any given day. Realistically, most of these buildings are parked at a ratio of 4 parking stalls per 1,000, and that doesn't really work if you're trying to bring in a 6 to 10 to 12 per 1,000 complement in a smaller space 2 or 3 days a week. That's going to be something that will need to be figured out between both the landlords and tenants on a going forward basis, and will create a lot of fun and excitement as we go forward in 2023.